Hi everyone. Today's video has 3 points and you're going to want to stick around for the third point because I'm going to tell you something you've maybe not heard before when it comes to choosing the exact correct thumbnail or your cover for your book. So let's get into it. Today's topic is your self-published book is judged by its cover. Now, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking nobody judges a book by its cover. In fact, that's a terrible idea. A book should be judged by the quality. In fact, you can look at many of the most famous books that have ever been written, all of what we would call the classics, and when you look at a bookshelf, often they don't even have any drawings or illustrations on the cover. It's just a plain color with the title, name, and the author. So why in the world would people judge a book by the cover? And the answer is, that is exactly what they do. I'm sorry, but that's what they do, and we're going to get into this a little bit. And when you are choosing your cover, there are some things you need to consider if you wish to see your book sell, because I have seen way too many of my students create covers that were terrible, and the end result is no sales, even though the quality of the books that they've put out are fantastic. So that is what we're going to hit in today's video. This is Chris Baird from selfpublishingmadeeasynow.com, where self-publishing doesn't have to be so hard. Check out my free checklist below in the description to make sure that you are not skipping any of the secrets necessary to get your book onto the market and selling. In addition, check out below and click subscribe in order to ensure that I keep making more videos. If you like these videos, hit the subscribe button so that we can beat the YouTube algorithm on our race for 1,000 subscribers. We broke 600 last week, and with your help, we can hopefully get even higher than that, and because 1,000 is one of our first top goals here. And I would like to help as many authors on the market hear the information they need in order to get your books to sell. So let's get going. From my own personal story, when I first made my very first covers, I didn't even look to see what other people were doing. Why should I look at what other people are doing? I didn't look at what they were doing when I chose my titles, when I wrote the book. I didn't look what they were doing when they made their covers or formatting or any of this other stuff. So I figured, look, I can choose which covers are going to be great, right? If the cover looks good to me, well, then I'm sure it will look great for my future customer. As long as, because after all, my customers, the readers that I'm going for, they would clearly be able to judge and figure out they would have the same opinion that I would have. Well, wouldn't they? Well, not exactly. That is completely a mistake on my part, thinking that my readers would actually care what my opinions are. They care about what their opinions are, and that's a little bit of why the cover matters so much. So what happened was I was listening to podcasts, and I learned that, like with some romance novels, certain images and covers that they were choosing to use were so powerful at getting sales that multiple authors were using these exact identical pictures on their covers because they were just that good. And we might be thinking, well, don't people care about originality on the cover? I mean, if you're going to choose a book and you see these multiple books have the same cover, the same person on the cover, well, clearly this would suggest that these books are just copies of each other. Maybe they're not as good of quality. The problem is your ideal readers are not paying any attention to what all of the other books on the market are doing. They're simply focused on one book at a time, and when you're running your ads, they're going to see your book cover, and that's where a little bit of a decision is going to be made. So what happened was I ended up changing my covers, and I started seeing a huge jump in the sales on my books. And the thing is that if you're interested, the cover designer that I use today, you can find her below in the description, where I put down my affiliate link for the person on Fiverr that I will use, and you can pay about $18 for a cover. It's a quality cover. It will win a war. I mean, I have books that were making hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month with this cover designer. I mean, I can't even believe she only charges $18, but whatever. You can decide if you want to pay a lot more money or do it like I did it originally, which is doing free covers on Canva. These are all options that you can do with your covers, but I definitely went back and had them all remade once I understood a number of the little secrets and just why covers are so important. But let's get into it. Your self-published book is judged by its cover. So the thing is that, as I've mentioned in other videos, and I'm hitting this again because it keeps coming up in the comments and I keep having this discussion, and there's a couple aspects to it I haven't hit previously. The most important thing is you're going to be your title, because a person is doing a search and your title will come up. And we're talking about people that don't already know you, because if they know, like, and trust you, well, they're going to buy your book anyways. we're dealing with all of the thousands and millions of self-published authors out there, million maybe, authors out there who have come out with a book, and you don't have an audience. So we're needing to sell these books to people who maybe don't know, like, and trust us. And so the first thing they're going to do is they're going to type into the search bar on Google or on Amazon, which is one of the top 3 search engines on the earth at the moment, that it's going to come up with your book titles, and maybe your titles include the keywords that they're looking for. That's one of the key strategies here. So that then pulls in, well, what are they going to see now? Now they're going to see, because it was the book title was the most important, now they're going to see your cover, okay? And that is why it matters so much. So what are we going to do for the covers? Well, I don't know. We should listen to what our readers are telling us they are willing to spend money on. Well, how would we know that? How would we know in our genre or niche what our readers are willing to spend money on? Well, the answer is we look at the best sellers. And on Amazon, it is unbelievably easy to do the sorting by the best sellers in that category. That's one option. The other option is to look on the search for the keywords that our book is based upon to see those covers. I use a tool called KDSpy. You can check out my affiliate link below. It's a fantastic tool in terms of figuring out the ranking of the books and also the books that come up in the search results, and they will give you a good idea of what, not just the titles, but also you can look at the covers for those books to make sure that these books are things that you're definitely going to want to consider when it comes to creating your book cover. Now, one of the issues that did come up recently was somebody who said, I'm in a genre or niche that doesn't have other competition. I can't find anybody else. Now, in one sense, that can be a little bit risky, because if nobody is writing books on it, you're attempting to create a new market, but usually not so much. Usually, no matter which type of book you're going to have, there's going to be some books in some market nearby that's a similar genre as yours. And if that's the case, those readers, they know what they want to read. And if you look at the top sellers in that, for example, in fantasy or science fiction, you're going to notice something really crazy. The covers all look very similar. It's not just like all over the place with flowers or blank covers or whatever. No, they're going to be very, very similar. The top sellers will be copying each other. They're clustering closely. And one of the keys here is that you're going to want to make your cover look just like their covers so that you're going to be discovered, and they're going to look at your cover and immediately know what exactly your book, the genre, and these sorts of things. You're going to communicate that information. They're going to give you a quarter of a second as they judge your entire book. Don't care about the contents, what it contains, how many times you edit it, how wonderful you think it is, or even your beta readers may think that it is. They're going to judge you very quickly by that cover. And I'm really, really hoping for your sake that the cover mixes in well with the best sellers in your category. Because when those people are looking to put money in another, take a risk, because that's what they're doing if they buy your book, take a risk on you, that they're going to see the cover and say, this is a book I want to read. It looks just like those other books I've already read and love. So this is a very key, powerful strategy you're going to want to remember. Number 2, make your covers look similar to each other so that it's very clear they're in the same series. This was another mistake. Actually, I followed this one pretty closely, but I had made it on later books a little bit of a mistake, so that when you have books under a given pen name or under several and in a series, that it's easy for the readers to see when they pull up your name, or if they pull up the book, it's going to show up and they're all going to look like part of a series. The reason this also matters is when we create book bundles. We've discussed that strategy before. We can combine these books together into a bundle. So it'd be like 3 books put together into one, and that third book, or the bundle, let's say it was the 4th book in that series or whatever. The 4th book is the bundling of the first 3, right? And so you're going to have a cover that also matches those 3, so that when they're deciding whether they're going to want to buy the bundle, because you're of course going to offer a discount when they buy multiple books at the same time, and they all fit together with those covers, so it just makes it seem like, wow, I want to collect the whole set, as opposed to all having different covers and being all over the place. And that would discourage you from perhaps trying to figure out whether they would want to buy all of them. And I know that if you look at the top series is like Hunger Games or Harry Potter or any of the other books that are coming out now recently, you'll notice all of them have a very similar cover. And this is not by accident. It will increase your sales. So the first one we had was we match the cover of the bestsellers. The second thing is we make sure that all of our books under our same pen name in the same genre or whatever, we're already creating the covers based upon wanting to bundle them together so that we can increase our sales. And these bundles, trust me, they make a lot of money. And this is something you're not going to want to skip. And the other thing with the bundles is that you don't have to write that book. You just take the 3 manuscripts, put them together at a lower price, and then it plays games on people's heads. Do I buy the bundle or do I buy them one by one where it costs so much more? You see? And so this is the sort of thing we want our readers to actually have to think through. Which way do they want to go? But since the covers all sort of match, well, I want to collect all of them. And that's the sort of mindset that we're looking for. Now, let's get to it, our third and secret point of the day. And that is, make sure the text on your covers can be read easily when it's the size of just your thumbnail. Okay? And that is because when our advertisements are coming up or suggested recommended other books come up in Amazon or in any platform for that matter, they're not going to be huge, gigantic, book-sized pictures of your cover. It's going to be the size of a little thumbnail. And on that thumbnail, we're going to want to make sure we do not have any additional information. We don't need to credit the editor or credit the cover designer or any of these sorts of creditation. I've seen people do this, like who did this or who did that. This is a terrible idea. In fact, unless your name is already well known, we do not need your name in humongous print on your cover. They do not know you. What's going to happen is they may recognize several of your titles match, like we talked about in tip number 2, but they really don't know you. The one thing we need to see is that in big print on that cover is the title. The subtitle should be there. It doesn't matter if it's so big of print, but the title needs to be there, and it needs to, if it's a fiction, it needs to be a little bit similar to the other bestsellers in your genre, okay, so that it's going to not look something completely off the wall. I have no idea what this book is about. And if it's nonfiction, then it's even easier because then you're going to have that keyword. Like, what is it? If it's puppy training, well, then your book title is going to be puppy training. It's going to be exactly like that. So when they look at that cover, it looks very similar to your competitors, well, not even your competitors, but the best sellers, and they're going to see puppy training as opposed to the next book, which maybe they say, they come up with some clever game like, I don't know, Wag the Tail would be the name of their puppy training book. Nobody has a clue what that is. It doesn't show up when they search for it. And when they see the thumbnail, Wag Your Tail, I don't have any idea what that means. I mean, very clever. I mean, you got a clever title and your book is amazing. Nobody's going to read it though, right? Because when they look at it, it's making a promise. And that's what a cover is really about. It's promising them what they can expect. And so this is something you're definitely not going to want to miss. You're going to want to make sure you implement all 3 of these tips when you're doing your book covers. Well, have you looked at what the best sellers in your genre covers look like, and how does it compare to yours? If you have looked at the covers and considered that, write yes below in the comments. And if you've never done it, write no below in the comments, because I need to know where you're coming from. How far in this journey have you come with the cover game? I really want to know, so please do let me know. Take the time. This tells me also that you're actually watching these videos, and then that helps me know that I'm on the right track. So just let me know below in the comments, and check up above me here for more video answers to your self-publishing questions. Thanks.